today, let me ask you a question. Are you afraid of cold calling? Do you struggle with cold calling? Do you procrastinate doing customer and prospect outreach? If the answer is yes, I'm going to share with you 7 tips on how to overcome your fear of cold calling. That's what we're going to talk about today. Number 1 on the list is probably a tip you have never, ever heard before. So lean in. All right. So the tip is using my 5 call per day rule. Okay. My 5 call per day strategy. Now, here's how it works. One of the biggest challenges with getting yourself to make cold calls and getting past the fear and the procrastination is the fact that you think about cold calling as, oh, I got to make 100 calls today. I got to make 150 calls today. I got to make 200 calls today. I want you to get that out of your head. Take that completely out of your head right now. Because number 1, if you're doing it right, you don't need to make that number of calls. And number 2, that's not the goal today. If this is your first day of cold calling, or you're just trying to reignite that fire in cold calling, here's what I would suggest. Rather than thinking about 100 or 200 cold calls, what I want you to do today is very simple. I want you to do 5 cold calls today. That's it. That's all you have to do today. That's your entire job today. Now, the hardest part about cold calling is getting started, making that first call. All right. And I get it. I understand. There's a really good quote that I heard years ago. It says, fear thrives in the place of inaction. Overcome your anxiety by taking one small step forward. I think that's Sarah Boyd. So today, your goal is to make 5 cold calls, day 1. And guess what? Day 2, guess how many calls you're going to make? You're going to make an additional 5. So rather than 5, you're going to make 10. And every day you're going to add just 5 cold calls a day. So day 1, you'll be doing 5, and then you'll be doing 10, and then you'll be doing 15, and then you'll be doing 20 and 25 and so on and so forth. And after 10 days, you'll be doing 50 cold calls a day. All right. And the objective here is to take bite-sized pieces. We've all heard that analogy before, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so that's how I look at cold calling for people that are afraid and have fear and procrastinate on cold calling, because they're looking at that whole elephant when in reality, they just need to take one small bite and start developing that confidence, start developing that habit. Number 2, you need to learn to celebrate the no's. Okay, Dennis, what are you, crazy? No one likes to hear no. Well, I get it. We've been conditioned from the time we were children that no was a negative response. Hey, no, don't touch that. Hey, no, don't go in there. Hey, no, don't say that, right? From the time we were born, we've been hearing no, 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 no. So we get conditioned that no is a negative. What you need to do is you need to reframe that. You need to understand and embrace the fact that no is a part of the game. You have to surrender to the fact that no is a part of sales. And so there's a great book I would highly recommend. I can't dive into a deep training on it right now, but there's a great book. It's called Go for No. Go on Amazon, check it out. It's a great book. It will help you to reframe your entire paradigm as it relates to hearing the word no or hearing the word yes. What you want to do is you want to embrace the no's and understand that every no that you get brings you a little bit closer to that yes. And that yes can lead to literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of revenue and profit for your business, especially in the freight brokerage setting, right? Number 3, educate yourself. I'm not talking about high school or college or online, education of some sort. What I'm talking about is educate yourself about your niche, the industry that you're pursuing, the niche that you're focused on. Educate yourself about the company that you're about to make a phone call with. Educate yourself about the prospect, the shipping manager, the warehouse manager, the logistics manager that you're about to have a conversation with. What I have found is the more educated you are about your prospect, about your niche, and about the company that you're going to call, the less apprehension, the less nervous, the less fear you'll have because you are more prepared, right? The more prepared you are, the more confident you are, right? And that's what this is all about. We're trying to build your competence, right? And your confidence. So ultimately, educating yourself about the prospect, gather some sales intelligence. Make sure you've done your research about the niche and the industries you're going after. Make sure you've done some research about the company itself, gathered some sales intelligence in advance. Make sure you've went on LinkedIn and looked up the shipping manager or the traffic manager or the warehouse manager, and you'll understand a little bit of their background. That will prepare you to have a real conversation, and that will help ease your nerves and some of your fear, okay? Number 4, it's what I'm doing right now. I am standing up versus sitting down. I have been telling people this tip for decades. It is so simple. All you have to do is stand up. Here's why. Because motion creates emotion. Motion and standing up will build your confidence. It'll build your confidence in a lot of ways. 1, you're going to breathe better. 2, you feel more powerful. You feel more stronger. You feel more confident. So it's a very simple thing, but rather than sitting down at your desk and kind of mealy mouthing it and talking like this and having your head down and buried in your cubicle, stand up. Are you crazy? Stand up and sell. I would highly recommend standing up and selling 100% of the time, but particularly for those that are struggling with confidence and are afraid to make these calls, right? Number 5, use a script, but the caveat here is you cannot sound like you're reading from a script. So that takes practice. If I'm here and I'm saying, fear thrives in the place of inaction, overcome your anxiety by taking one step forward, you're going to know I'm reading, okay? It has to flow. You have to flow. That flow requires a little bit of practice, a little bit of preparation, okay? So you can use a script. That's okay. That will be a little bit of a crutch for you to get started, because ad-libbing or trying to think off the cuff on exactly what to say without being prepared is scary as hell for me and for anybody, okay? Number 6, role play with a friend. This goes hand in hand with number 5, role playing that cold call script, role playing how to overcome objections. Those are 2, role playing how to answer questions and ask questions. Those are all very important strategies. That is an incredibly powerful strategy, because what it will do is it will take your fear and it will turn it into competence, which will convert into confidence. But it's a staged approach. You can't go from here to here. It's too big of a leap. So you got to go from fear to competence to confidence. And doing role playing with somebody that you know, your wife or your spouse or your brother or a coworker or a friend or someone else that's in the Freight Broker Bootcamp program, right? Anybody that you can do role playing with, where you can practice your cold call, practice overcoming your objections, practice asking and answering good questions, is an incredibly powerful tool to build that confidence. All right. And number 7, find an accountability partner. All right. So an accountability partner is when you and I agree that we're going to work together and keep each other accountable. That's a part of what we do with Freight Broker Bootcamp, right? So we are keeping you accountable to going through the training and implementing those pieces. But if you find an accountability partner, what's going to happen is that is going to create leverage. You will probably do more to not disappoint and let your accountability partner down about making those 5 or 10 or 50 or 100 calls in a day than you will yourself. So that leverage creates momentum. And that momentum creates competence, and that competence creates confidence, right? Do you see the process? Do you see how it flows? All right, so let me run through those 7 again. Use my 5 cold call a day strategy, my method. You celebrate the no's. Don't worry about, don't worry about hearing yes on every call. Celebrate the no's and make sure you get that go for no book. Number 3, educate yourself. Make sure you educate yourself about the industry, the company, and the prospect you're dealing with. Stand up versus sitting down. That's number 4. I can't stress that enough. It's so simple. It's one of the easiest things you can do to build your confidence and get over the fear. Number 5, use a script, but make sure you don't sound like you're reading. Number 6, role play with a friend. And number 7 is find an accountability partner. Okay, so those are my top 7. But listen, before you go, if you're curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, I can't stress it enough. I know you're struggling to find all the answers on YouTube and you're struggling to find all the answers using Google. Let me help you. We have an entire program. I'll take you from A to Z. It's called freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money back guarantee. We've had over 10,000 students in the last decade go through the program. Many of them have went on to build 6 and 7 and even 8-figure businesses after graduating from our program. So I highly suggest you check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. No matter where you're at, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Facebook channel. Make sure we connect on LinkedIn. Truly appreciate you guys being here. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Hope you enjoyed the tips. Have an awesome day. And we'll be here for another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live every Monday at noon.